spacecraft is closing in on Mars at 12,000 miles an hour. In a few minutes, the Perseverance rover will be on the ground. It's on a mission like nothing ever done before. Searching for traces of life in an ancient river delta. And collecting samples for return to Earth. To get this far, its creators have endured gut-wrenching setbacks and a global pandemic. Thousands of people played a role to make this happen. But only a few have ever touched this marvel of human ingenuity. It takes great minds to build something like this. It also takes...
And we are entrusted with that system.
Perseverance has the same basic design as the Curiosity rover that's been on Mars since 2012. But the payload is all new. The centerpiece is a complex robotic system to drill and cache samples of Martian rock for return to Earth by a future mission.
The idea of sending spacecraft to Mars, grabbing some samples and bringing them back, this is something that scientists and engineers have wanted to do for a very long time, many decades, because they might hold signs of ancient life.
A device called MOXIE will attempt to extract oxygen from the thin carbon dioxide atmosphere of Mars, paving the way for future human missions if it works.
One more bump down.
There will also be an experimental helicopter, the first attempt to fly a rotor-driven aircraft on another planet. This team could be the Wright brothers of Mars.
Flying a helicopter on Mars is a game changer. Introduce
Very select group of people that physically build our spacecraft.
ADLO is where everything comes together, the integration of all the major components. The ADLO team will eventually be on the launch pad. They'll be conducting launch pad operations.
The ADLO team is responsible not only for assembling the spacecraft, but for making sure that it works as a system when all the parts are put together. The rover doesn't fly to Mars by itself. The cruise stage manages the journey from Earth to Mars, then separates just before arrival. Then comes the 7 minutes of terror, as the spacecraft decelerates from 12,000 miles an hour to a gentle touchdown. Radio commands at the speed of light will take 11 minutes from Earth to Mars, so the spacecraft is on its own. The aeroshell carries it through the fiery collision with the Martian atmosphere. Then deploys the parachute from its mortar. The heat shield drops off. And the rocket-powered descent stage takes it the rest of the way in. Finally, there's the acrobatic sky crane maneuver. And then
That's my hardware. My hands have put it all together. I've built it from nothing. If something goes wrong, you feel an emotional attachment to the hardware. All the folks that have been building, all the technicians and other folks, they kind of share that same attitude. They're really involved in it, and they're really taking ownership of what they're doing.
They made hundreds of tubes. Only 43 are going to Mars. What happens to the rest?
They have looked at the internals and they've estimated that it's just shy of a shot. So somebody may fill one of those and take a shot out of it, and not a flight one, but we'll see.
The spacecraft will soon be on its way to the launch pad. The rover has a nuclear power supply that will charge its batteries on Mars. The very last job for the techs is to install it when the rover is on top of the rocket.
We are on top of an Atlas V rocket. Everything is ready to go. And this rocket is swaying. And so we have this nuclear power source that we have on this fixture to shove it in the rover and then bolt it down before we close it out and then put the door on the rocket, and that's it. It's off to the launch pad after that.
It is a very unique experience. You start having nightmares about everything going wrong. You have trouble sleeping because once it's taken out to the launch pad, there's not a lot else you can do.
You've buttoned everything up and it's ready to launch. So now you're like, are we gonna launch? Is everything okay? Is the rocket okay?
Do you realize how many things have to go right for this to actually work?
We've gone through a set of worries, gotten those behind us. The vehicle is fueled, it's powered, it's rolled out on the pad. We're ready to go. So hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow morning, we leave Earth.
SSE is go.
SMA.
SMA is go.
SMD.
As soon as that spacecraft leaves the planet, this Earth, I think that's really when it's going to set in.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur. Go Mars 2020.
That's all I want to do is watch it take off and do exactly what it's been made for.
Launch director. LD is go and you
Man, mind blowing. This is to me like a dream that I'm part of this team.
Proceeding with the count. ALC, verified T0 is set for 1150 Zulu.
Now it's on that rocket. The countdown's happening, and you can't do a thing about it.
8, 7, 6, 5.
Crossing your fingers going, don't blow up.
Ignition 2, 1, 0.
Release.
And liftoff as the countdown to Mars continues.
I can't tell you the feeling that you get when you see that rocket light up.
That's something that we did. That's something we created. And it's like nothing else to be part of that.
You hear about that Mars rover, that's something that I built.
Hey, I worked on that. You know, I had a hand in that.
And Atlas TU has gone to closed loop control.
Everybody touches it, and a little bit of their soul goes into it.
Coming up on 30 seconds into flight, the RD-180 is throttling down as expected.
You see it launching, and then the sound is hitting you. And you're realizing that this thing is going.
There it is. There it is.
Wow. Listen to that. It's just incredible that it was here one day, now it's
And now it's gone. Your baby's gone.
You devote your entire life to this, you know, years of it, and all of a sudden it's gone.
Burnout pressure signatures look good. Standing by for SRB jettison shortly.
We're trying to branch out into the universe and this is one of those steps.
The vehicle is 50 miles in altitude, 85 miles.
It's time for it to do what it's supposed to do.